How is it going, everybody? This is S3Tide coming at you with the Week 9 of college football recap video. This week, I'm so excited because on Saturday, I'm going to the Alabama-LSU game, and that is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a heart attack while I'm there. And right after this video of the recap, I'm going to do a prediction video. In that prediction video, I'm not going to have the LSU-Alabama game because I'm going to do a separate video where I'm on webcam, kind of like trash talking, I guess, kind of like the TTC, but not, kind of, I don't know. But I'm going to be doing that, and I'm getting my tickets later today. My father went to go, he had to go out of state to pick him up, and he's coming back, and when I get the tickets, I'm going to make a video pulling my pants off and whatnot. So, let's get right into it. Thursday, we had Houston and Rice. Houston scored 73 points. Case Keenum broke a Houston record and threw 9 touchdown passes. Think about that. That's 9 touchdown passes. That is like more than 20 FBS schools have like combined for this year. So that is like really crazy. And Houston's right up there at number 13 in the BCS rankings, I believe. It's on the screen. Let me see. Yep, it's 13. And you have to be 14 to qualify for BCS Bowl. So they basically control their destiny. I think the teams that are left in the schedule that will be pretty tough is Tulsa and SMU, and I think for the conference championship game for the CUSA is probably against Southern Miss, who's ranked 25. And another interesting thing is the CUSA has more teams in the top 25 than the Big East does. So be looking out for Houston. They have a high-powered offense, and whoever they play in the BCS Bowl, if they make it, will probably kill them. But that's going to be really entertaining to watch if they actually make it. That was a lot to say about that game. Let's move on to Saturday. We have Oklahoma State and Baylor. Oklahoma State solidified their spot at number 3 in the polls, and will move up to 2 after this Saturday. If they don't, I'm not sure they play. I think it's Kansas State. But whoever loses out of this game, they'll move up to number 2. And the loser of Alabama-LSU will probably go to 3 or 4, right in front of Boise State. But Oklahoma State, they held Robert Griffin. Their defense, Bill Young, held Robert Griffin to 3 points in the first 3 quarters. They scored like 21 in the fourth quarter, so it's a lot more of a blowout than the score showed. But Oklahoma State 159-24 over Baylor and Robert Griffin. So, yep, that's that. Next game, the upset, Clemson at Georgia Tech. You could just feel this coming. There's no way Clemson is ready yet to go on to be a national contender. And maybe in a year or two, when Sammy Watkins and their running back's a senior, I think Taj Boyd's a sophomore, so they have years to grow. So they'll be great in the upcoming years. But right now, they're just a little bit too young. So Clemson lost 31-17. They tried to come back in the second half as they've done like 2,000 times at the beginning of the games before. So they couldn't do it, and they lost 31-17. Stanford USC, crazy game, went to triple overtime. As QB battle between Matt Barkley and Andrew Luck, 2 of the better quarterbacks in the next upcoming NFL draft. Stanford barely won, 56-48. The USC running back fumbled the ball in the 2-yard line, and they could have scored and gone for 2, and they would have tied it up, gone into a 4th overtime. But Stanford and Andrew Luck won 56-48. Andrew Luck threw a pick 6, which gave USC the lead with like 2 minutes left in it, and Stanford got the ball back and drove down the field and scored and tied it up and went in overtime. So Stanford won 56-48. They control their destiny right now. Well, not necessarily. Oh, whatever. If Oklahoma State loses and Stanford wins every other game, which they probably won't, because Stanford's problem comes into play when they play a team with speed, and USC's not as fast as they used to be. But speed's been shown to give their defense problems. And next few games, I'm not sure how many games away it is, but in a few weeks they play Oregon, and they're one of the fastest teams in the country. So that's gonna be an upset alert right there. So moving on. But yeah, Stanford won triple overtime, 56-48. Oklahoma 58, Kansas State 17. I'm so sad because I was a fan of Kansas State because they're probably the best coach team in the country. Probably have worse talent than Baylor does. But Bill Snyder does a great job coaching. He's brought their program from complete irrelevance, and they're right up there. They could still go to BCS Bowl, but they lost 58-17. It started out like, oh god, they're pretenders. Oklahoma's gonna smash them. Then they started getting a little bit testy. I think it was 21-17 going into the half, and then Oklahoma just steamrolled them in the second half, scoring like 35 points to nothing in the second half. But yep, Oklahoma moved over Oregon and Arkansas in the BCS polls, which makes no sense because Oklahoma's only loss is against Texas Tech, and they lost like 48-7 against Iowa State. So I don't know. So yeah, but Oklahoma won 58-17. Gotta make this a little bit fast. Arkansas 31, Vanderbilt 28. Vanderbilt played 800 times better than Arkansas did, but this final score doesn't show it. Vanderbilt just vandied all over themselves. They were winning 28 to 20 or something. No, I'm not sure. It is 28-20 or something like that with like a few minutes left. On the 2-yard line, it was 28-21. That's the score. On the 5-yard line, and their running back Seymour could have scored, but he fumbled it without even anybody touching him, and they brought it back for a touchdown and tied the game up, and Arkansas ended up winning. And they drove down the field with like 2 minutes left, and all they had to do was kick a field goal to go into overtime, and their kicker just missed like a 26-yard field goal, which makes you go like WTF, and Arkansas won 31-28. Next game, Nebraska 24, Michigan State 3. Nebraska's black shirts just shut Michigan State's running attack down. Kirk Cousins couldn't get anything going through the pass, anything through the air rather, and Nebraska just controlled the time of possession, ran the ball with Taylor Martinez. I think he only had like 10 pass attempts, and that's how Nebraska, the fans want him to be, because he throws like a retard, but apparently it worked, and they won 24-3. Virginia Tech 14, Duke 10. Duke kept it kind of close. Virginia Tech didn't score in the second half. They played sloppy, but sometimes you gotta win sloppy because you can't come out to perfection every week, and they won 14-10. See, Wisconsin. This game was insane times 28. Wisconsin lost to Ohio State 33-29. Ohio State was winning with a few minutes left. Russell Wilson drove down the field like he does because he's such a clutch player. Scored, they took the lead. Ohio State came back, scored a touchdown. Braxton Miller had that great scramble for a touchdown. Well, not scramble for a touchdown, scrambled. Got outside the pocket, threw it downfield to the guy in the end zone, and they scored. And Russell Wilson had the ball with like 20-30 seconds left, and he couldn't do it again because he can't help it. His defense decided to suck it up this game. And, well, not necessarily sucked it up this game, but they allowed a bunch of points in clutch situations in the second half, which ended up in a loss for Wisconsin. And Ohio State won 33-29. If Ohio State wins out, they might win the Big Ten, and that will help my predictions as my BCS prediction video. I said Ohio State was going to the Rose Bowl, so who knows. Moving on, Missouri 38, Texas A&M 31. James Franklin had that great game. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the run that he had. He broke a bunch of tackles, but he's just the next great quarterback that Missouri had. They had the guy before Chase Daniels. I can't remember his name, but he's a great quarterback. Then goes to Chase Daniels, then to Blaine Gabbert, and now you got James Franklin, who's only a sophomore, so he'll be there for probably 2 or 3 more years, or 2 years rather. And he's been playing great. Missouri's going to be the next addition to the SEC, which kind of makes me cringe. But so is Texas A&M. And when I see that commercial that talks about the family, makes me want to throw up. But Missouri won 38-31. Another comeback victory against Texas A&M. And that is that. Penn State 10, Illinois 7. Joe Paterno's 409th win, I believe. This gave him the most wins in FBS coaching history, so congrats to him. Played sloppy, but sometimes you got to win sloppy. Scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, won 10-7. Texas Tech, like I said, lost 41-7 against Iowa State, right after beating number 3 Oklahoma. That makes me, I don't know. Next game, let's see. Georgia 24, Florida 20. Georgia, they're just basically a mediocre team. This is Florida's fourth straight loss, I believe, in the SEC, or fourth straight loss overall. Muschamp's having some problems, and I've heard a few people that think they know about football and talking about how John Brantley didn't really affect Florida's offense still sucked with John Brantley at quarterback. When you look at the statistics, the last 3 games combined, Florida had scored like 17 points, I believe it was. No, they had Florida had 250 yards of total yards passing through the air. In the last 3 games combined without John Brantley at quarterback. In just the first half of this game, he had 250 yards. More yards in one half than they did the last 3 games combined. So he definitely brought a lot back to their offense. They had like 20 negative rushing yards, I believe, last time I checked. But Georgia put out the victory, won 24-20. Florida could have been winning like 31-3 at the time if they would have had all their opportunities. But you got to do what you got to do to win, and Georgia did just that and won 24-20. Maybe just a few more games. Let's see. A Thursday night game, upset. Virginia beat Miami 28-21. Miami. It's pretty depressing watching their games because they get like 5 people there at games. So I think it's better, honestly, when a college team has a on-campus stadium. That just generates a lot more excitement for the program and brings a lot more fans out. And it's like something to call your own when you're like playing at a pro stadium or I guess you could call it a community stadium. It's just like not as traditional and not as fun. It doesn't have the great atmosphere. So if I was Miami, I would have never ever tore down the Orange Bowl. Why? I don't know why they did that. It's stupid. But as I ramble, I believe, Boston College won 28-17 over Maryland. That's their breaks their losing streak, and their first game they won in the ACC this year. So shout out to my boys at Boston College. And I believe that is the last game. Oh yeah, just want to point this game out. Mississippi State 28, Kentucky 16. The battle of the 0-4s. In the SEC this year, Mississippi State came out on top and 4-4 so far this year. Kentucky's 3-5. Joker Phillips is not doing that good of a job. Their offense is atrocious. Morgan Newton's nothing at all compared to Cam Newton. He's completing less than like 40% of his about 40% of the passes this year, and like less than 30 in the SEC, like against SEC opponents. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is my recap video of last week. I might do my prediction video like just as normal after this, but it's not going to include the LSU Alabama game, as I would do that on webcam. And if I get the tickets tonight, I will show you the tickets. So I will see you later, guys. This weekend is going to be insane. I'm leaving to go to T-Town Friday after school. I'm staying in Demetropolis. It's like an hour away, and I'm getting up like at 5 or 6 in the morning to go to game day. So be looking out for me on game day. I'll tell you guys what sign. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll tell you what sign I'm holding up so you can see if you see me. So I will see you guys later, and roll Tide.